there are a lot of words that people have been using for so long without knowing what they mean. So when they use the word, it activates something screwy in them. So we can use the word faith, but first we have to tell you what it really is. So, for example, faith would be, so let's say that for whatever reason you're outside the vortex and you're not living something that you want. Something's going on that you don't want, or something's missing that you do want. So you've launched rockets of desire, and it's over here brewing in your vortex of creation. In other words, it is already done, really. Because when you ask, it's not only given, it's done. So your work then is to just catch up with it. But it's hard to believe something that you have no evidence for. It's hard to think thoughts you haven't thought, or to believe things that you have evidence to the contrary. In other words, people don't realize that when they believe in something, let's say they believe in cancer because they know a lot of people who have it, or they have heard the statistics. Well, all that means is that someone has held their vibration in a place that disallowed wellness, and they did it long enough that they have evidence of it. In other words, in the beginning, Esther would say, as if it should give her a free pass to focus on something negative, Abraham, but it's true. And we would say, we would use a different criteria than whether it's true or not. We would use the criteria, how does it feel? Does it feel good? Is it and today we would say, we would use the criteria, can I be in the vortex and think about it at the same time? So where faith comes into this conversation is, you might want more money, and you might have no conscious way of understanding how it's going to come to you, but you could have faith in law of attraction. You could know about law of attraction. You could know about the vortex. You could believe that you are source energy while you're here in this physical body. You could know that your emotions tell you that you are splitting your energy on this subject. You could have such knowledge of the laws of the universe and true faith in who you really are that even though you currently don't have any money, you would still feel the deliciousness of faith. Faith, in its purest form, is the absence of resistance, even when there's no physical evidence present. It's a knowing that the evidence defies. That's what faith is. But it's the physical manifested evidence that defies it. The real evidence is the way you feel. The real evidence is the emotional alignment, you see. So we would say faith is having a handle on your thoughts and a handle on your emotions, and understanding that you can be in the vortex regardless of what is. Think about it. When people use the word faith, isn't that what they mean? It hasn't happened yet, but I have faith that it will. And you can really shore your faith up, because a lot of people use the word, I have faith that it will happen, just like I have had faith that will happen for the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And after a while, that faith wears thin. In other words, you shouldn't need a lot of faith if you are understanding who you are and coming into the vortex, because when you get into the vortex, you don't need faith. You've got manifested evidence. You see, you only really need faith if you hold yourself apart from what you want. But look at it this way. So here's this vortex swirling, and all cooperative components have already been assembled. And let's say you're over here feeling hopeful. Well, if you're feeling hopeful, as faith would cause you to feel, you're close enough to this vortex that every now and again it's sweeping you in and showing you something that's making you even more knowing or believing, you see. If you're over here in fear, even though the vortex is spinning, you're far enough vibrationally from it that you're not getting drawn in. So if you're standing over here in the evidence of the absence of something that you want, but you know about the laws of the universe, you know that the larger part of you exists, we want to teach you faith in the laws and faith in who you really are. And then, when you can get yourself in the vortex anytime you want, being outside the vortex isn't so unpleasant. Esther will say, I'm having a step one moment. In other words, she doesn't feel guilty anymore when she's outside the vortex because she knows that she signed on to be outside the vortex sometimes. She sometimes gets irritated with herself that she hangs around out there longer than she needs to. But in that case, she says, I'm just making really sure that I've got a lot of good stuff over here. So when you know that you can't focus on things outside the vortex without feeling bad, but you do anyway, at least you know. In other words, when you have negative emotion and you know what it means, it's easy to have faith in the process. The only time it's hard to have faith is if you don't have any idea whatsoever why things happen the way they do. There are so many people who don't know about law of attraction, who don't know that the larger part of them still exists while they're here in this physical body, who don't realize that they're being called. There are so many people that have such a screwy basis that they are standing on that they don't have the basis for faith. We're talking about anyone who, we would put everyone who does not understand. Let's start in another place. When you know that you are source energy and that part of you has come forth into this physical body and that here you have come to explore contrast and that in doing so you will launch rockets of desire and in doing so you will expand. When you know that that expansion has taken place and that positive emotion means you're keeping up with it and negative emotion means you aren't keeping up with it. Now you have working knowledge of the universe and faith in the laws of the universe. And under those conditions, you're steady. But if you don't know what emotions mean, if you don't realize that you are the creator of your own reality, if you don't know that the thoughts you think activate vibrations, if you don't get it, that you get what you think about whether you want it or not, then there are a lot of people out there saying words of faith, but they're not offering the vibration. That's why someone somewhere said faith without works is dead. And what that means is you can use the word all day, every day. I have faith, I have faith, I have faith. I don't have enough money. I have faith, I don't have enough money. I have faith, I'm sick. I don't have enough money, I'm sick. I have faith, I don't have enough money, I'm sick. Nobody likes me. I have faith, I don't have. If you keep active within you all the stuff that is keeping you from being who you really are, it doesn't matter how many words of faith you offer. You must find the vibration of it, you see. And so let us just say that faith, in the purest sense of the word, feels good. It feels like knowing. In other words, it's like you see a child fall down learning to walk. You don't say, get up, you little dummy. You're in the vortex relative to that. You know that they're going to find their balance and they're going to learn to walk. You have faith. You have knowing that they're going to be just fine, you see. I like being in the vortex. Sometimes I'm in, sometimes not, but I like being in. I got an idea that the more I get in, the easier it'll be to get in no matter what. That's really the point of this, to be able to get in no matter what. It's easy to get in when I'm looking at something that evokes love from me. It's not so easy to get in when I'm looking at something that doesn't. So what I'm really talking about here is my own focus. I'm a good focuser. I can focus on things. I can feel when I'm in and when I'm out. I like this vortex idea. I like the idea of taking care of my own vibration. I can feel relief in not holding somebody else responsible for the way I feel. Wouldn't that be nice for our relationship? For me to be solid in my vortex no matter what. Because from inside the vortex, I can radiate well-being from inside the vortex. That's probably why this matters so much to me. Who I really am is in the vortex. And so that's why I really want to be in the vortex. Glad I figured this out. I like knowing this. I like knowing the distinction between being in and out. I like focusing and feeling and focusing and feeling. I'm getting pretty good at this. I can focus on a lot of things that make me feel good. There are so many beautiful things in this world that take me easily into the vortex. And I can focus on any one of them anytime that I want to. For example, my dog takes me easily into the vortex. Nature takes me easily into the vortex. So there's so many things that I can focus upon to be in the vortex. And so I feel now how screwy it has been for me to ask someone else to behave in a way that takes me into the vortex when I have a myriad of choices that I could use to get into the vortex. I just want to get in the vortex, that's all. And now I'm discovering just with this little process that I'm in the vortex. And now once you get in, can't you feel it? Can't you feel a shift in that? Now you can go right to a a list of positive aspects. We'd make a list of positive aspects on the dog and my nieces and nephews and nature and my own well-being and the clarity of my own mind and my ability to focus upon my attracting this information so that I know on how good my life's going in so many ways. We would just focus upon positive aspects, and then we'd move from there right into a rampage of appreciation. It's so fun to focus. I really like this. I love the idea of unconditional love. Isn't it nice that the world doesn't have to change in order for me to feel good? That was a big job I had all lined up, making this person comply and this person comply and this person comply. And now I've just given myself this enormous feeling of freedom because nobody has to be any different than they are for me to be in the vortex. I love being in the vortex. And now I know that I'm in charge of whether I'm in the vortex or not. I'm finally free. Now my relationship with anybody who formerly took me out of the vortex will be improved because no one will be able to take me out of the vortex. So I won't feel resentment toward anyone for taking me out of the vortex because through the power of my own mind, I'm staying in the vortex. It's nobody's job to behave in some way to keep me in the vortex. It's my job to focus in a way that keeps me in the vortex. And I'm showing myself right here and now that I can do that. This is fun. Oh, good. Now I'll go look for more things to sharpen my ability to be in the vortex about. Oh, and by the way, from inside the vortex, that friend who is outside the vortex looks entirely different. When you're in the vortex looking out, it looks entirely different than when you're out the vortex looking over. Because from in the vortex, they're just a step one experience. Thank you for sharpening my ability to focus, because I'm sure that if you were a perfect person like my dog is, if you were a perfect person like my dog is, then there'd be all kinds of other people who aren't perfect that would be jerking me out of the vortex. But you, not being perfect and me wanting to have favorable thoughts of you, you've helped me to train myself into the vortex. You taught me unconditional love. Thank you, out of the vortex friend. I love you. Even though you're out of the vortex, you're not making me come out of the vortex. You've just sharpened my resolve to be in the vortex. Come on in. It's good over here. And everything is about relationships, isn't it? In other words, your relationship with who you are, your relationship with each other, your relationship with money, your relationship with well-being. The vortex, where law of attraction assembles all cooperative components. And so what we're getting at, and it really comes on the heels of the subject about faith, we want you to be so knowledgeable of the laws of the universe that it doesn't matter to you what's currently happening, because you know that if you keep feeling better and better and better, things have to get better and better. So what is doesn't mean anything. What is just the bouncing off place for so much more. I know I am secure. I believe in my ability to focus. I believe that my inner being is focused upon my well-being. I believe that my inner being has got all the bases covered, and all I have to do is figure out how to get over there. I know about the laws of the universe. Everyone is the creator of their own experience, but we live in an environment where we are sort of a collective society where in many ways we are looking out for one another. And I like being part of that environment. I feel pretty good where I stand, and I can feel that I have, through all that I've been working, I have built up a sort of vibrational nest egg, you might say. And I suppose anyone could focus in a way that would bring them fear. And I don't know why I would do that to myself. I always figure it out. I am a really good, innovative person. I like to get out and be in sort of unknown territory and figure things out. And this environment not only has the potential of sustaining me, it has the potential of thrilling me, because it's causing me to focus in a way that I've never been willing to focus before. These unstable times, I can feel, have caused me to put more things in my escrow. And I can feel that larger part of me that non-physical part of me has become larger and even more sustained as a result of it. I can feel my inner being calling me in a stronger way than ever before.